Hello everyone, I am Jovin, a top level Tableturf player, and welcome back to the final part of this tier list. Today I will be ranking all the 14 sizes and up. And once I've finished ranking every card, I am going to order the list and then do some final adjustments. So let's start right away with Mr. Gris. Mr. Gris does have a few cards it synergizes with, for example Boros, Pigman 1, and also Golded. And as you can see here, Mr. Gris is a pretty good opener on River Drift. So yeah, I think Mr. Gris can be very powerful when used correctly, but you really do need to plan your deck around Mr. Gris in order for it to work. Mr. Gris is a pretty good card, I think. Now we got Grandpa Cuttlefish. I think Cuttlefish is most common as an opener in River Drift. Goes out pretty far and defends quite well. You can also see Cuttlefish in some socket decks, like with Scallop. Cuttlefish can also work with Perlina. Cuttlefish does lack a bit of range as an opener in most maps, and it is kinda like Mr. Gris where you really have to build around the special points for it to actually activate most of the time. I think I'll also put it as a good card. Now we got the cat, Yad. I think Yad is a pretty good combo card. You got stuff like Sorella Brella, and he's pretty similar to Madmouth in a way where you can put him almost anywhere and have a secure spot for Sprinkler or Tentatek later in the game. I think Judd is worth running if you want this kind of shape around here, like this and Scallop. Especially if you got one of those combos I mentioned earlier, he's a pretty good choice. Pretty thick card that is harder to just put into any place like Madmouth, but I think it's a good card. Now we got Sink. Sink is in a way pretty similar to Mr. Gris. You really want some specific combos with it. This can be something like Captain or Boros. And maybe the most obvious card for this is Bisque. I think Sink would really benefit from having a good mirror card. It's pretty difficult to build a base combo around Sink and not have to rely on it too much. But it is very powerful when it works, and I'll put it in good. Next up is Krakon. Krakon is also one of those big combo cards. You can really get it to combo a lot of different cards. It's very nice and compact, easy to activate the special. Yeah, it's pretty solid, I'll put it in really good. Next we got Scallop. Just like I talked about with Yad, it can be pretty common to want this kind of shape. It's good to have two options for that. And it synergizes with cards like Drizzler and Mr. Coko. And yeah, I think I'll put it in good as well. Next card is Fludder. You can put it against a wall like this and activate its special super easily with any line card. You can do something like this where it's impossible for the opponent to go through this too. Also shoutouts to Fludder on Sticky Thicket. I think it barely reaches a really good tier, it's pretty underrated in my opinion. Next cards have some really long official names, so before I begin rating them I'm just gonna say I will call this Fry 2, Shiver 2 and Pigman 2. Now Fry 2 is a really good card. Fry 2 is also really good for line decks and there's so much you can do with it. Just a better Yet Squelcher almost. And it's a pretty nice opener of Mask Mansion. Overall it's just very easy to activate the special, just a nice big combo card. And next up we got Shiver 2. Shiver 2 is 7 long and it's actually just a good opener in a lot of maps. And as I said in the previous videos, combos it has is just insane with stuff like Splash Mob and Takaroka. But it's got more than just synergy with those two cards. And just being big and long enough for it to be a good opener on a lot of maps is really good for it. It's a pretty easy best tier in my opinion. Alright, Pigman 2 is up next. Pigman 2 is just overall a really good opener on most maps. It's kind of like an umbrella where it goes out and then protects the area you have behind it. In a map like Square Square you can really win some good clashes against bigger cards. Like, I want to mention that this is probably the best opener on River Drift. It's just very good at the defending but also attacking at the same time, you know. The special space placement makes it very easy to activate the special points with a bunch of different cards. And to top it all off, it's an insane card in Cracker Snap. Just look at this. Quite an easy best tier as well. Moving on, we got Flow. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys. I have never played Flow. It's one of those new cards that I haven't really had the opportunity to play with yet. But since it's similar to Killer Whale, I think it would probably work in the same way, just there as a normal card instead of a special attack. I could see it working well with stuff like the jellies and apples. There's a lot of cards to compete with in terms of synergizing well with the jellies. So I don't know, I think I'll just put it in decent for now. Next up is the cool guy Bisque. Like I said earlier, it's got a pretty insane combo with Sync. And in general, if you got stuff like Ink Mine and the brushes, it shouldn't be too hard to activate the special. But I don't know, I haven't seen it combo that well with some actual really big cards like with Boros or anything. So it's probably not as good as Sync in that regard. It's got some potential, but I think it's just decent. Now we got Cipher. Cipher is a very unique card. And the most obvious use case is Mask Mansion, where it's a pretty insane opener. The special space is pretty easy to activate with stuff like Small Fry and Ballpoint Nouveau. And I like it as an opener on Sticky Thicket, where you can then play Big Swig Express here in the side. I think it belongs in really good. Next up we got Gnarly Eddy. Gnarly Eddy is very useful in any map where you can just put it here in the corner next to the starting space. Combined with Taint Attack, it's 3 very easy special points right there. You've also got the combo with Kouna, which is pretty cool. It's a bit hard to make it consistent, but it's kinda wins you the game a lot of the time. But yeah, as I said, use it next to the starting space and you will be golden. Easy best tier. Now we got Mr. Coko. I don't really know what to say about Mr. Coko. It's just too small to be a really good opener, but it's pretty hard to make it work as a base combo. Mainly because of where the special space is, because if you put it against the wall like this, you're not gonna activate that unless you have a burst bomb. Yes, it can work in socket decks with stuff like Scallop and the Ink Line. But yeah, it's really not that much better than Drizzler. And so yeah, I'll put it in the same tier as Drizzler. Decent. The next card is Harmony. Harmony is a good opener on some maps, like River Drift. And if you just have some of the essential combo cards with it, it should be pretty good. Talking about stuff like Toxic Mist, The Cook, Goldie. And also Shiver 2, I guess. Though it is hard to activate its own special, it does reach a lot as an opener in Mask Mansion, and you can put a Coko here, which is nice. I think the tentacles reaching out like this can make it very disruptive for the opponent. Like if the opponent played a Dynamo like this, they can't really just place a 7 long card here, right? Because the tentacles kinda overround it a bit. It lacks a bit of range, only being 6 long, but I still think it's good enough on most maps where you can put it in best tier. And now we got Marigold. 99% of the time where you see Marigold in top play, it's because you want an alternative for Gnarly Eddy. It's just a slightly worse version of Gnarly Eddy, but it mostly works in kind of the same way. It's a bit clunkier, but with Tent Attack and the starting space, you really don't need to worry that much about activating the special space. And I think I'll put it in really good. And now we got the Squid Sisters. I think the Squid Sisters are a bit too short to be optimal openers on most maps. But outside of that, they have some nice combo potential with themselves and the YouTubers and the sloshers, you know. I often see Kali being used here in Reaper Drift. You can put a bunch of cards down here in the bottom like Detras or Rockenberry. Double Gemini are actually pretty good openers. And on the sides you can do something like Dentabrillas here. Then finish with the sloshers. But I think the best part about the Squid Sisters, or more specifically Marie, is this combo with Marie and Fry. If you manage to pull off this combo turn 3 on certain maps, losing becomes a choice, if you know what I'm saying. Yeah, you can really get this combo to work in a lot of maps. It's just really good. And because of that, honestly, I'll put Kali and Marie in different tiers, with Kali in really good and Marie in best. Cry about it. And now it's gonna be interesting, we're getting to the really big cards now. Starting with Captain. Captain is 6x7, it just occupies a lot of space and is a very good opener on most maps. Main Street, for example, you can put Fry or Shiver here. It's a really good defensive opener. It is a pretty good card with Steelhead, and I would say in double Gemini it's surprisingly easy to fit this in the mid game. In my opinion, the main weakness of Captain is that it isn't completely defensive. Opponent could go through it with stuff like Ballpoint here, and then some random card here. Not to mention just going through it with Zipcaster. So in certain maps like 2-lane and X-Garden, I don't think this is actually a good opener. But other than that, it is very easy to activate the special, and it's just a really good card. I think it belongs in best tier. And the next card is Acht. It is still a new card and I don't know exactly how good it is yet. I've seen it used in a lot of different situations though. You can activate the special with stuff like Fry and Shiver. And it's a bit like Perlina, where it combos well with Octobomber and the Tri-Stringers. I'm gonna put it in really good for now. It doesn't reach far enough to really be considered a good opener, so it's mostly just a combo tool. Next we got Shiver and Fry, they're pretty similar, so I'm gonna rank them at the same time. Okay, so Shiver and Fry are 7 long and occupy a ton of space. So they are really good openers, basically every normal map. With cards like the Sloshers and the Tentatex and the Sprinklers and the Octocopters, it shouldn't be too hard to activate the specials as well. So yeah, in almost every map they're like the best turn 1 options you can think of almost. And because of that, you can really almost certainly put them in best tier. The next card is Pigman. Pigman doesn't actually reach out in 7 spaces in any particular direction, so it's not actually like the best opener in the game a lot of the time. But his combo potential is just so insane, especially with the jellies. You can find a lot of good combos with Pigman. You get stuff like Mr. Grace. And of course all of Deep Cuts combo well with each other. Although this is not really realistic to pull off in game. Still, because of the combos with the jellies and overall being just a big card, I think he deserves to be put in best tier. Up next is DJ Octavio, where he's a decent opener and works well with the jellies. With Pigman he doesn't reach 7 spaces in any direction, but it doesn't hurt it too much. I think the bigger problem is that the special space is just way too hard to activate. I guess the easiest way you could make it work is with something like Sprinkler here, but again you still need something on this side for it to actually activate. So it's so hard to activate the special, I'm gonna put him down a step. He's just really good. Next we got Big Shungus, Kouna. Coko also doesn't have that much range. It's an opener, but I guess it's not that bad. I think the best part about Kouna is that it's actually a pretty good combo tool, even though it's 17 size. You can actually fit Kouna in a lot of bases, and you can just use Dapples or Gnarly Eddy to activate the special space. There are some good alternatives for Kouna to put in your deck, so you don't have to super rely on it. For example, Firefin. And there's also Scrapper plus Octotrooper. It's actually pretty insane, and I don't know why I forgot to talk about that in their cards in the previous videos. And again, there's quite a lot of maps where Kouna fits very well into the base. So even though he's not the best opener in a lot of cases, he's still a best boy. Okay, 3 cards left. Boros. Probably maybe the best card in the game perhaps. The range of this thing is insane, dude. Just look at this, he goes so far. It's a very good defensive opener and also aggressive. And also big. Can't really ask for more. And I somehow forgot to mention this in Big Man's part, but yeah, this is an insane combo right there. There's a lot of ways you could use Kouna in different orientations in a lot of maps. Of course the jellies are really good here with it as well. It's like Fry and Shiver, there's barely any map where this isn't a super good opener. That's why Boros belongs in it tier. Okay, now I got the Lesbians. They're pretty recent cards that I don't exactly know how best to utilize them yet. But I do know they're pretty good. Like this combo is 36 points in 2 turns, dude. And yeah, the combos they have with tri-stringers and stuff like that is insane too. And man, just being 18 size, it really helps them out. Marold is probably a bit better as an opener just because it has more range. Trapker Snap, it's like insanely good here. You get the special space right here where you can instantly start pressuring your opponent's side already in turn 2. And Marinas is a bit more compact and works better as a combo card, although you can fit her actually in Thicket. I don't know exactly how good they are, but I do know they are good enough to be in best tier. So yeah, there we have it, all the cards ranked. Oh, how could I forget about Amus? Silly me, how could I forget? Yeah, Amus is kind of insane. You can put it against a wall like this and just activate the special for free. It has this backpack area where it can be used in a lot of more combos as well. So it's pretty versatile in that regard. Man, I don't know what they were thinking when adding this special space here. It's just way too broken, man. So this card is banned in competitive play for a reason. I don't think it will ever get unbanned. It's just too broken. So Amus is in its own tier here. It's too strong for its own good. Okay, so now all the cards are ranked. So I'll be right back. I'm gonna quickly order this and maybe swap around a few placements. So I'll see you in a bit. Alright, I'm back. And I have ordered all the tiers. So yeah, I put Boros as the best. And I think I'm pretty proud of this. I did move some cards up or down a tier. I think Kraken, I put it too high. The more I think about it, there's not that much reason to play it when there's some other 312s in the game. But I did move Sloshers up a tier because there's a lot of really good cards that combo with them and I feel like they should be here. Same with Sloshing Machines, they're very versatile and easy to use. Very good combo cards. I put Flash Blasters down from good to decent, because to be honest I don't really see them that often and I don't use them often either. I don't think there's that much reasons to. Same with the Duelist Welshers. They're good box seats cards, but I don't see them that often. Those extrusions in those cards are a bit difficult to deal with in combos. But Octodisco, I actually put it up in good tier because kinda glossed over just how good Octodisco is in a lot of the newer maps. So I definitely think it has potential. And yeah, I don't know what I was thinking with putting ink brushes in decent. They're not that much worse than Octobrushes, definitely have their uses when you don't think you can really fit Octobrushes. And I mean they're better special attacks too, because a 9 space for 4 specials is kinda yikes. Fish Stick I also put up a tier. It's a very unique card which is actually good for it, because I mean there's not really any other card that does what Fish Stick does. So in those few times when you need it, it's there. And plus it's actually very good in Master Pension, I realized. You can kinda do a lot of things with it on that map, I think. And I also put Tentacooking Niche, even though it's only used with Harmony and rarely at that. I think it does have potential, at least in Cracker Snap, and it's a bit underexplored in my opinion. It's good enough for it to be above these cards at least. So there we have it, the tier list is finished. I hope you guys learned a lot from these videos. I had a lot of fun making them. Subscribe for more epic Tableturf content. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.